at this very important national event. We are at the launch of the 2025 Non-Traditional Export Statistics, and this is a moment to take stock where this sector stands, acknowledge what is holding us back, and confirm that government is doing all it has to do to remove these barriers. We all admit that there is huge potential for Ghana's non-traditional export sector. Within 1 year, 30.7%, up to 5 billion. The Ghana's national non-traditional export sector has maintained an average annual growth rate of 6.01% between 2020 and 2024 and accounted for 18.75% of total merchandise exports. Processed and semi-processed goods now represent 83.4% of those earnings. Cocoa paste is our top non-traditional earner. It grew by 35.5% in 2024, and we have seen the data for 2025. And it grew on the back of strong demand from Europe and North America. We also have industrial art and crafts recording nearly a 23% growth. The sector recorded over 41% growth in the first half of 2025, and now we have the data for the whole of 2025. These are numbers that tell us that Ghana is no longer just producing raw materials. It is adding value, and the world is responding to our export growth. The economic sector's deeper significance lies in who is driving it. Close to 80% of Ghana's workforce operates in the informal economy, contributing an estimated 58% of GDP. We have traders, we have processors and artisans who are the real backbone of the non-traditional export growth. They are producing, they are processing, and exporting Ghanaian goods every single day, often with limited access to credit, infrastructure, and market information. We heard from our CEO about some of the challenges in even participating in exhibitions. We now have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area headquartered in Accra, with this existing frameworks under the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme and the EU Economic Partnership Agreement and ACWA. These are all opportunities to scale the sector, and they are very significant opportunities. The question now is whether enough of our businesses can access that opportunity. And Keda, thank you for your very practical examples and your story. And I just want to add, the Minister for Trade, Honorable Elizabeth, whispered to me that you have employed 4,500 Ghanaians. Thank you for that. I'll just mention one or two challenges and structural barriers. So the main persistent constraint facing operators in this sector is access to finance. The Bank of Ghana data shows that less than 12% of the informal sector workers can access formal credit. We also have a situation where over 70% of informal workers have no business or life insurance. Then beyond finance, meeting the international standards in packaging, certification, and quality control, and also navigating logistics and aggregation barriers continue to limit the ability of exporters to compete globally. And so addressing these constraints requires a coordinated ecosystem and not isolated interventions. And this is where government interventions under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama comes in. You would all agree with me that since January 2025, under the leadership of John Dramani Mahama, government has moved with very clear purpose on these challenges, and the macroeconomic results are already very visible. Inflation has fallen from 23.8% at the end of 2024 to 3.3% in February 2026. The cedi has appreciated approximately 40.7% against the US dollar. GDP grew by an average of 6.1% in the first 3 quarters of 2025, and Ghana's economy surpassed $100 billion by the end of 2025, placing it amongst the 10 largest economies in Africa. This is the environment in which today's launch of the 2025 NTE statistics is taking place. These are the specifics to the export sector. We have mentioned here the 24-hour economy program. The act was signed into law by the President on the 14th of March 2025. It is targeting 500,000 additional jobs in its first phase. It is also implementing, together with the Ministry of Trade, strategic projects. This includes an agro-industrial park in the Volta Economic Corridor, the Legon Pharmaceutical Innovation Park, the Kumasi Machinery and Technology Park, and the Tamale Air Cargo and Logistics Hub. The Women's Development Bank has been operationalized with 500 million seed capital, offering loans at a 5 to 8% interest against market rates of 30 to 35%. It's targeting initially 200 female entrepreneurs in year one. We also have Maslock, which has expanded its microcredit reach to target a further 200,000 women. Under the Ministry of Trade, we have the Ghana Enterprises Agency, which is running an active formalization program for our informal sector operators. GIPC has also introduced an incentive package for all companies employing informal sector workers. Additionally, through the Big Push program, $10 billion is being invested in road rehabilitation and economic corridors to reduce the cost of doing business in Ghana. On ports and logistics, President John Dramani Mahama has commissioned Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the $1.5 billion Tema port expansion. This was done in November 2025. The facility is now the preferred first port terminal for mega container vessels in the Gulf of Guinea, with feeder services reaching across all ports in West Africa. Turnaround times are shorter, logistics costs are falling, and the port's AI optimization system was built entirely by young Ghanaian engineers. Yes. For non-traditional exporters who depend on fast, affordable shipping, this is a direct commercial advantage. The President has set a target of making Tema the most efficient port in Africa within the next 2 years. Now, what is the importance of the data we are about to launch, and what must it do? The 2025 Non-Traditional Export Statistics Report is indeed a strategic instrument. For policymakers, it identifies where growth is happening. And I was very interested, and I was watching the data for agric marine squid. I never knew that we export marine squid. And the medicinal parks Are we also adding Indian hemp? Is it part of it? It will be interesting for us to know. So we know where the growth is happening and also where the gaps remain. For investors and financial institutions, it provides clarity needed to channel capital into the right sectors and design products that match the actual profile and relevant profile of our export sector. For the exporters, it highlights which markets are growing and where Ghana's competitive edge is the strongest. We saw the global map, which was shot by our CEO, of where the Ghanaian products are being exported to. So this helps the Ghanaian exporter. Critically, it also serves importers and buyers on the other side of the trade relationship. It gives them the evidence and the confidence to source from Ghana. Keda told us about the confidence. He gave them the evidence of the Ghanaian tiles, and they had the confidence to purchase even more. They'll also invest in logistics infrastructure in Ghana and make long-term procurement decisions. This data, therefore, helps both importers and exporters to make informed decisions, to direct investments to the right places, and merchandise and mechanize their operations where returns are most reliable. However, data only creates when it moves. Therefore, may I recommend that GEPA ensures that this report reaches the smallest of smallholder farmers, it reaches the market women, small processors, artisan cooperatives, trade associations, district assemblies, financial institutions, and development partners. It should directly inform the design of sector specific financing products that banks and fintech platforms can deploy very quickly. Data must move from insight to action, CEO and all your partners. So, what is the way forward, Honorable Minister for Trade and colleagues? Ghana has the geography. We are the center of the world. Ghana has the trade agreements. Ghana has the human capital and now the infrastructure momentum and the data to become a serious non-traditional export powerhouse. Ghana government has set the motion and direction. The private sector, financial institutions, development partners, and civil society must each play your part. Financial institutions must design credit products that reach the informal traders and exporters through mobile money platforms. Development partners must support Ghana to support certification and quality standard programs. Private sector, you must invest in aggregation infrastructure that allows even the smallholder farmers to access markets they cannot reach alone. In conclusion, I commend the Minister of Trade, the Ministry of Trade. I commend highly the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, led by its CEO, for this publication and for your continued leadership in charting a sure, progressive developmental path for Ghana's export agenda under Ghana's reset agenda. On behalf of the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I charge all stakeholders here to engage seriously with this report. Use it to guide your investment decisions, and let's work together to close the gap where this sector is today and where it is capable of being. The opportunity is documented in this report. The momentum is real. What is required now is for us to scale, to coordinate, and have a sustained commitment to expanding and increasing export in the Republic of Ghana. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I'd like to invite the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry to join the Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff for them to officially unveil the report. See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we, his officers, hereby launch the 2025 NTE Statistics Report, the annual non-traditional export statistics.
Honorable Stan, please join us on stage.